So hi guys, um, so I'm very excited because not today specifically, but I am celebrating 1 year of self-love and 1 year of solo dating. I started the journey of self-love and solo dating last year, 2025, when I broke off from a very toxic, narcissistic relationship that I had for over 3 years. And so when I broke it off, we broke up at January, and then later on I was introduced to a girl called Tam Kaur, and of course I started listening to her and her advices, and so I started officially my self-love journey on the February of 2025, in which my first solo date I went on the 13th of February 2025, and since then I have been very intentional with my self-love and my solo date journey. Every month I've made sure that I've taken myself out for either a meal, or I've just spoiled myself. I've gone for a picnic, or maybe I've taken myself to a live recording, I've taken myself to a concert, and really getting to romanticize my life. Every damn day I have always decided to romanticize my life. So, what are the lessons that I've got to learn in my self love journey? That the kind of love that you give to yourself is the kind of love that you'll definitely receive. So, if you love yourself 20%, you're only going to get people who love you either 25% or 10%. But if you love yourself 90%, trust you me, you'll be able to attract people who love you 100% or even love you 80%. Then another thing I've got to realize about your self-love and your solo date journey is that you cannot love yourself if you don't love God. Those two things can never be inseparable. Actually, when you love God, it's actually even way easier for you to love yourself, because God is the one who gives you the strength to love yourself. Otherwise, there are times that it's very difficult to love yourself. It's very hard to love yourself. It's very hard to to literally love yourself at times, and to be disciplined, to be consistent. Sometimes it's very hard. The third thing is that, just like any other relationship, the relationship you have with yourself is actually, I think, the most difficult ones, because there are times that you need to be very disciplined, and then you find yourself falling back. And it's easy when you fall back, you find yourself talking to yourself vibaya, oh nini nini, why did I do this? So it's always very important to know that you are human and you can never be always perfect. Another thing that I've got to learn is whatever may work for someone else doesn't necessarily have to work for you. Your own way of loving yourself may be totally different with how someone else gets to love themselves. For me, I'm usually very comfortable with vlogging, because for me, I always love myself out loudly. It doesn't mean that someone who takes themselves out on dates and doesn't vlog, it doesn't mean that they don't love themselves. It's just that they are not comfortable doing that. I think I'm in number 5, right? The fifth thing is that you will lose people. You will lose so many people, because the moment you start to love yourself and to love yourself completely, to take care of yourself, you start attracting haters. You start attracting people who used to call themselves your friends, but they were just there taking advantage of the fact that you did not love yourself, that you wanted to do anything that you wanted. Because, like, for example, there are times whereby there's kuta, maybe the time that you are, of course, the time that you're not loving yourself, you are people pleaser, you are a person who wanted external validation, you're just giving off your energy to everybody. But the moment you start to love yourself, usually very selfish with so many things, and it's easier for you to say no, and not everyone is going to take that no lightly. You will lose people whom even you called your best friends. You will lose them, because the moment, even when you start to love yourself, you find yourself elevating in a big way that unakuta tu you and those people, you are not aligned any longer, because now you have worked on yourself, and it's not easy. Like you whom you've worked on yourself, you cannot be on the same space with someone who has not got to work on themselves. So another thing I think I can say I've learned is that you can actually be alone, and you can actually be okay. Now, the reason why I'm saying this is because for me, all my life, I have been dating. I've been moving from one relationship to another, Since baby class, I would not lie. I think the only time that I was single is maybe from Form 1 to Form 3, because definitely we're in a girls' school. But for me, I was that type of person, because I always had this anxious attachment style, and I was always chasing love and validation. But the moment that I decided to have this journey of self-love, it was not easy at first, by the way, because I feel for me, according to my opinion, I feel an avoidant person is easy for them to get into the place of loving themselves that someone who was having an anxious attachment style. So for me, I was always seeking other people to love me, and so it was work. Sometimes you could sleep. Me, definitely I slept, even after 7-8 months of having my self-love solo date journey, I found myself going back to my ex. It's not because that I am stupid, it's just because that at times you may sleep, and you are human, okay? So you are enough as you are. Just know that you are enough as you are, and you don't need a man. As a girl, you don't need a man to come and complete you. For me, I take myself out on dates. I've bought myself an amazing cake to celebrate my 1 year of self-love. And so everything, you can be able to do it on your own. As long as you have God and you have yourself, anything and everything is possible, because all things, it takes work, but the more you go, the better you become, the more self-aware you are, and you get to learn yourself until you're like, okay, when something happens, you're like, this has triggered me, and through that you're able to love yourself. So every day, make it a point to love yourself. I've said this relationship is also not easy, but it's just to love yourself and to tell God, you know what, God, give me the love that I need, especially because if you're in a manipulative relationship and you are the one who was having anxious attachment style, it's easy for you to get back there. But once you've cultivated self-love, it's easy for you. You don't need a man to complete you. Because for me, I'm like, I can be single forever, and I'm honestly okay with that. And I built my self-love enough in the sense whereby if the next man who comes in my life, he doesn't compliment me and he doesn't get to treat me the way I treat myself, then there's no need for us to negotiate. I am okay as I am. I am okay as I am. I buy myself flowers, I buy myself chocolates, I take myself out on dates. So if the other person cannot do that for me, then tunafanya nini, like if I can be able to love myself out loudly and the next person cannot come and love myself out loudly, then there is no need for us to have this. So I'm so excited. I'm honestly so excited for the fact that I've celebrated this milestone, and it has taken the hand of God. Honestly, I thank God for the far that He has brought me. All the glory and honor should go back to Him. So I hope you've learned a thing or two. Just know, you out there, whether you have the worst anxious attachment styles, trust you me, I had the worst anxious attachment style. Mind you, I have the worst anxious attachment style, and I'm an extroverted person. So tell me, how is it for me that I was able to sit down by myself and be like, I am okay as I am? It really had to take a lot of time. It really had to take a lot of sacrifice. But at the end of it all, I'm literally grateful for the journey. Sijafika, I'm still getting to learn more and more. And I'm so grateful to God for the journey that is ahead of me. And I'm so glad. I can't wait for whatever life has in store for me, whatever life has to show me. And yeah, I hope you learn a thing or two from my video. And that's it for me. Bye.